Okay, so this is actually a part two of movies that I watched this year after my after semester in college. Anyways, so this movie, The Great Gatsby, I'm gonna be honest, even though it's supposed to be like a book you're supposed to read in high school, I've never read this in high school, and I know that makes me uncultured, and I'm not supposed to be reviewing this movie because I have to compare it to the book. So, but I'm gonna try to give it my best shot. Um, so I'm not gonna be able to do it a comparison to the book. However, I will be able to. I'm just gonna review this as a movie on its own. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, this is just gonna be a review of the movie as it is. Not that has nothing to do with the book. Now, The Great Gatsby. Overall review. I didn't hate it. Okay. I had my doubts. I really had my doubts because Baz Luhrmann is to me a hit and miss director. Like his style is so extravagant. Like his movies are so big that they can either like entertain you or alienate you. And I'm one of the more hit and miss audience members because I like Moulin Rouge, but I didn't like Australia or Romeo plus Juliet. I mean, it's just the guy is hit or miss basically. So I didn't really have high hopes for The Great Gatsby. But I will admit he would he would have been uh, I wouldn't say my top choice to adapt this kind of book, but he would be. I could see him adapting this kind of book. I mean, like from what I understand of the book, it's about material wealth and how it's like soulless. And if I had to pick a director who could really like emphasize that, I'm not gonna say Baz Luhrmann would be my top pick, but Baz Luhrmann, I could see him, exploring that well. So going into this movie, a general review, I didn't hate it. I mentioned that already, but I feel like I feel like there's a lot of cons that kind of prevents me from truly liking this movie. So going more in depth into this, starting off with the pros. I'm gonna start with the pros. Since it is Baz Luhrmann, I mean you can't deny that it's visually entertaining. I mean not just visually, but like audioly. I don't really know the word, but like this movie just feels big. Okay, like that's his style. He makes big movies, and you could see that in the movie. Like the sets are amazing to look at. The parties are big. The soundtrack is big. I mean, like the first, let's say third of the movie, two third. Well, the first half of the movie, it reminded me of Moulin Rouge, like the partying and how like the fast edits and the soundtrack, the out of place music, like it was so much like Moulin Rouge that even though I was kind of annoyed that the soundtrack was not from this era, I kind of came to ignore that because it was just like in your face. Because that's what he does. I mean, like that's what he does well. He makes things pop on the screen. That's one of the things I like about Baz Luhrmann. And I know that could be a con too. It's definitely a con for some people, but I'm gonna say it's a pro for me because I wasn't bored. I mean, it was what am I gonna say? It was like fun to look at. The other pros I could say is the performances were good. I mean, I like the performances. Um, though criticism goes a little bit to Leonardo. I mean, he did very well in the movie, but Leonardo DiCaprio has a sort of thing where he goes into angry mode. Like I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Like there, like whenever, like Leo can be normal throughout the movie, but whenever it's a stressful scene, Leo will enter this angry mode that no matter what kind of character he is, it's always gonna be like the same for each one. Like his angry mode is the same as he was in The Departed, as he was in Django, as he was in this movie. Like I didn't really notice it that much in The Departed, but Django, I kind of noticed that his angry mode was kind of the same as his other movies. This movie, you can definitely tell the angry mode, because like it's so out of place for how they built up Gatsby up until the point, like up until the point where he gets angry. Like it feels so out of place to see him angry that it's kind of a setback. I mean, that's a con. I'm talking about the pros right now, but Leo's a good actor. He just needs to change up what he's doing when he's angry. That's what I'm saying. Other pros, plot is interesting enough. I mean, like the plot doesn't bore you, I guess, and it does. I mean, it does stick to the theme that money is empty and that like it makes people greedy and stuff, and like how like America is built on greed. Like I guess the movie sticks to that theme of the book. I'm not so sure if it's stronger in the book. Like if someone could please tell me if on that, but I say the movie stuck to the theme pretty well. And those are my pros. Now, going into the cons, like I said, the style could be a pro and con to some people. I'm not gonna say it's a total pro for me. Like I'd be lying if I said the style was totally perfect. Like no, sometimes the style took you back from the movie. Like there are parts where the soundtrack, like you can ignore the soundtrack in some parts, but other parts it's like you kind of expect more period music. Like I didn't really care about there's a scene where Toby Maguire goes to an apartment and they have like a party and like what Jay-Z starts playing. I didn't really notice that. I didn't really care. Really started noticing the music when he goes to one of Gatsby's parties and there's like club music and it's just like I keep seeing these jazz instruments, but I'm hearing like club music on like coming out. It's just like it was too contradictory, I guess. So style clashes time to time, and also the style, since it was just like no, since the style's so big, it kind of takes away from the theme. Like I mentioned the theme, like they got the theme correct. It's just that I feel like the style was so big that it kind of like muffled what they were going for. Like the parts of the movie that were supposed to be um like heartfelt, like supposed to mean something, to have scenes that are supposed to have weight, like especially I'm gonna say spoilers. The scene where Gatsby dies, that scene was supposed to have a lot of weight. It was just so over dramatic and so big that it took away from what they were going for. Like I kind of just pictured him dying quietly. I mean, they did show that he died with only one real friend by his side, but how they filmed it was just so over dramatic that it took away from the scene a little bit. Like that's the problem with this movie. It's kind of a hypocrite in that it's trying to show how this money and wealth and this swagger is bad, but yet the movie is so big already that it's like it takes away from the moments when it's supposed to be like heartfelt. And so that was a big con for me. And also, I don't know how it is in the book, I'm sorry, but the plot didn't really have any twist. I mean, the plot was easy to follow, but there was no like real like oh my god twist. Like the real only twist in there was Gatsby dies, but you can kind of see that happening. Like you kind of know that something bad is going to happen to Gatsby, so it's like there's no real like oh my god twist in this movie. So yeah. Now overall, I like The Great Gatsby. Like it could have been better, but I'm not gonna say it's a total failure, but I'm gonna say it's passable for what it is. Okay, and